Good. Got it. All right.
Got it.
That's it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you got it. So just, again, before we get into that, a lot of the prep you want to do as you're getting ready before camp, you want to make sure you're preparing your scouts, preparing yourself, and prepare the parents as well. Some of the things when we're talking about preparing your scouts, obviously make sure you have all your med forms, anything that you can possibly have that you need to turn in. Look at the leader's guide, make sure you have all that information with you. I like to make like a little 3-ring binder that I keep all of that information in, all of their sign-offs, all of their med forms, all of their insurance cards. I also will print off from the Geronimo site or from the Black Pug site all of their merit badge classes. So I know what they're going to be going to and what they're already signed up for. Another good trick is I like to tell the scouts to go ahead and download, if they would like to, download and print off copies of the workbooks of the different merit badges that they're going to be going to and make themselves their own little 3-ring binder to kind of help keep themselves organized for the different merit badges that they're going to be taking. Equipment. Make sure that you supply your scouts with a really good equipment list of everything that they're going to need and what they don't want to take to camp and what they can't take to camp. And then obviously make sure you do a very good inspection before you load everybody up in your trailers and pickups and everything before you bring everybody up, because you don't want to have anybody up there that's missing a sleeping bag or missing some of the items that they're going to need for the week. So make sure you check everything out. The Geronimo is not as hot as it is down here in the valley, but it is still hot. It's still summer. I ask that all of our scouts carry water bottles or their camelbacks with them wherever they go at camp. If I find a scout walking around that doesn't have water, I make sure that they get a water bottle. The altitude up there, and it's still pretty hot. It'll get to 85, 95. Some of the days that we're up there. So always make sure that they're carrying around water. Some things to prepare with the parents is I like to give a little presentation of what to expect of your scout when they come home. They're going to come home tired. They're going to come home dirty. And they're going to come home a completely changed person. They're going to have so many wonderful stories to tell about all the different friendships that they made and the different experiences that they had, and the different bonding moments that they had with all their fellow scouts. That's the biggest thing. If you have some scouts that are going up there for the first time, and you or your parents might be a little worried about them having a little homesickness, or especially the scouts that just crossed over, this might only be their first or second camp out with you. It's a little trick that I've seen a few other Scoutmasters do, is the parents will give them a letter or a little gift, for the Scoutmaster to take up with them, and then on like that Tuesday or Wednesday when they might be feeling a little down or a little sad or a little homesick and missing home, that's a good time to present them with that little box of cookies or letter from mom or dad or something like that. Any other thoughts on pre-camp jitters or things to make sure you're prepared for camp from anybody? Cool. All right. Medical forms. Along with the medical forms, making sure you have all of those filled out. You should have someone assigned to be your medical advisor, or the person that's going to be doing administering any meds or medications that your scouts might have. We always like to take up a log, and we'll make a little log of AM, midday, PM, whatever times that they're supposed to be receiving whatever medications. The Scoutmaster or the adult leader that's in charge of that keeps those medications, and when they're needed, they'll track down the scout. Okay, 8 o'clock before we head down to this, or right after flags, come back up, morning med time, and you distribute the meds to the kids that need the morning meds. And same with lunchtime and dinner time. And make sure you check those off and keep track. It's really important, because there's some kids that maybe they don't want that medication, or they think they might be able to skip out on it. If it's something that if the parents think that they need all the time, then you want to make sure that you have it. And along with allergy meds or something like that. Hopefully the scout knows when he's going to need, a little allergy med boost or something like that if that's something that they're feeling a little overwhelmed or whatever. There's the joke of the med the health office. The first thing that anyone's going to go there is they're going to give them a Tums, because a lot of it is just anxiety. They might not really. I mean, obviously they're going to take care of your scout if they're actually sick, but a lot of it is with anxiety, and they're just feeling a little homesick or something like that. Another little trick along with that is money. So your scouts are going to be bringing up some money because they want to buy the slushies and the candy and the popcorn and everything else at the Trader Shack. We like to keep one of the Scoutmasters as a banker, because it would be unfortunate for that scout to come up for the first time and to blow all of his money, on Monday, and have all of that candy and hopefully not bring the candy up to your tent, because that'll cause other issues. But we like to have a Scoutmaster kind of assigned to be a banker, and he keeps all the funds, and he has banker hours. Come see me, this time in the morning, this time in midday, this time at night, and you can check out some money. That way he kind of helps, especially with some of the newer scouts, keep track of their funds so they don't go through it too quickly. Any other thoughts on med forms or cash from anybody? Or go ahead, go.
So one suggestion would be, if you have a scout that is on regular medication, it's a suggestion to the parent to have an additional dose, and that's only not just in case things happen. Maybe you're at an out-of-state camp or something like that. But sometimes they miscount, right? Or sometimes the scout drops it or loses it or something like that. So it's kind of prudent maybe to have an extra dose. And since you're controlling the medication, there should be no issue with extra dosage or whatnot.
Awesome, great tip, great point. Yeah, I've had a few scouts have to dig their Zantac pill out of the dirt there because they dropped it. So good point. When you arrive up at camp, make sure you're looking at the leader's guide. But you'll arrive up at camp. You have assigned times where you will be supposed to arrive and where you get checked in.
For just $5.
How are you handling scouts whose parents refuse to have them vaccinated? That's a check form that they're able to put on their med form, and when that's submitted in, that's something that they can talk with. But no one's required to have certain vaccinations or anything like that.
I think the only one that's important is the tetanus.
Yeah,
that's the only one they really care about.
Yep. Back to check-in time.
So Scoutmasters adults make sure your tetanus is up to date, because that's the one that they really, really check.
Yep, good point. With the check-in, you'll have a certain check-in time. You'll come in. If you haven't have all of your forms ready, you'll go up. You'll meet up at the dining hall. You kind of go through a little round robin. Make sure your med forms are checked. Make sure you have all your horse waivers signed off. You'll go to the activities area or the merit badge area, and we'll go over and make sure that and they know. It looks like everybody signed up for the correct merit badges. And you kind of go through a little red robin, make sure everything's set up. That night, there'll also be a Cracker Barrel that you want to bring your Scouts and Adults Tetanus. You'll have a Cracker Barrel that you want to bring your SBL to. I like to leave almost everything we possibly can in the SBL's hands. He's going to be the leader of your group, and give him that responsibility and let him shine, and be there to help him when he has questions or whatnot. But this is your SBL's chance to really shine and do a great job. After check-in, you'll have your Sunday night will be your first night there. Merit badges and everything start on Mondays. I don't believe there is KP duty this year that troops are signing up for, but they are asking for leaders to help out with lunchtime. Yes, and she. Sorry if I said he on the SPL. But they are asking for leaders, if you have extra leaders in your camp, that they're able to come in and help out with KP duty, I believe during lunchtime especially. But the units will have the chance to sign up for flag ceremonies and be part of that. Let's see. Another thought I have. So, a lot of us have been at camp several times. I like to call Tuesday night is the homesick, and if you've been to through Wood Badge, the storming night. That's the night where you're going to have your first scouts start to feel a little homesick, or they're going through the stages of directing as a team, and they're going to might be a little storming that night. And trust me, they'll get through it. They'll go through storming. They'll start to conform, and they'll be together. They'll be a highly performing unit for you by the time you leave camp. But Tuesday night's the night to kind of really keep an eye on, especially your newer scouts. If you're feeling a little homesick, or if you see them kind of off to the side, not with the group participating in anything like that, that's a good time to keep an eye on a lot of your new scouts. One trick that we've always kind of used to help with to keep scouts from getting to that way, there's a lot of activities going on, but keep your scouts busy. I don't mean completely pack their schedule, but you want to keep them busy. Make sure that you are, that's one of the reasons for the Big Chief program. Whether you're going through, Big Chief bronze, silver, gold, whatever goal that you want to do, have your SDL decide, okay, this is what we're going to go for, and have a plan of action in order to achieve that goal by the end of the week. But that's where you're able to do your night hike, do the rainbow trails, make sure you're going to, the campfires, make sure you're going to the Bouillon Rim story. Keeping the kids active and busy gives them less time to kind of move off and, horse around, or, start to feel lonely or anything like that. Keeping them busy is a really good thing to do the weekend. And there's a lot for them to do. There's between all their merit badges that they have in the morning, they have some free time in the afternoon. Make sure they're utilizing that time. If you have a lot of first year scouts that aren't in the Brown Sea Island program, or even some second year scouts that need some rank advancement, it's great to use your senior patrol leaders and your patrol leaders to schedule some time to work with them on different ranks. It's great for them to have an opportunity to do your Scoutmaster conferences. If you don't have your scouts ranking up and getting your Scoutmaster conferences done during the week, make time. Schedule it into your time that you have. If you're fortunate enough to have some committee members there, you can even get some boards of review done and have them complete the whole process while they're up there. Had a question in chat about when and where do adult leaders sign up for classes. Some of them were ones that you could sign up for immediately. I think that was just a CPR class. But the other ones you will be able to take care of when you check in. And also, even some of them, it's just know the schedule, talk to the people that are teaching the class, and show up. I think the only one that you want to make sure that you're really prepared, that you let them know, is the CPR class, is that one you will have to pay for in order to receive the CPR card at the end of the week. Hygiene. Little note I have for hygiene. It's a long week. It's hot. It gets sweaty. If you're lucky, you'll get some rain. It might make things a little bit muddy for a day or two, but it also keeps the dust down and keeps the heat down a little bit. But make sure you have scheduled times for a patrol or your group to take showers and send them to the showers. A good time might be the time that they're supposed to go clean that shower during that time, to have them take all their showers, get all cleaned up. But keep an eye on that. Make sure that they're getting themselves cleaned up, especially as someone that likes to that packs in 6 to 8 scouts in their van or their truck on the way back. You want to make sure that they're taking showers throughout the week. And Gil, go ahead.
So a note on hygiene. This is something that I brought up to Chris while we're discussing topics, and this came up frequently, not in our current troop makeup, but before we had scouts that refused to take showers or whatever. And this really came to a head when our troop, we weren't actually in Geronimo, we were in California at another BSA camp. So we were like 8.5 hours away, and the scout refused to take a shower. That was a big deal. So we have now written in our bylaws or whatever, we tell at our parent meeting that it is required for our scouts to take showers, and our group is really good right now. So we have we pick up the Camp Geronimo t-shirts. They don't get it until like Thursday or Friday night until they take the shower. And so we've also told the parents like, hey, if your scout refuses to take a shower, you get to drive up to Geronimo and pick them up. So
one thing I would definitely make sure is socks. Make sure that they are changing their socks. I could tell you stories of a scout that there was a horrible stench coming from their tent. I don't know how his tent mate survived the couple of days until we figured out. We thought there was something dying underneath his slab, and we found out no, he just hadn't changed his socks. And he has to pull his socks off and clean his feet off for him because it was a scary situation. But yeah,
so
make sure that you're.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Question for the group: Does anyone prepare to do laundry while they're at camp? Give a show of hands, or just unmute, or say in the chat. So some troops, they bring like a 5-gallon bucket and like a clean toilet plunger and some detergent, and you could just do like, you know, like pioneering type laundry that way. That's not a bad idea, especially if you have scouts that are CITs or working at Geronimo, but they're joining the troop, or they're doing NYLT, and then they're joining you. So they've been away for like a week already. You know, that may not be a bad idea to be prepared for that.
If they're working at Geronimo, or if they're there for NYLT and going to be there for an extra week, they have access to washing machines.
They have access, which is different than actually using it. Well, I staffed NYLT, and then we had a CIT come, and this was probably like week 5 of him working. He has never washed clothes or even taken a shower.
We've brought up a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket, and I have one of those like industrial sized potato mashers, and we use that to just kind of clean out the clothes a little bit with some laundry detergent, set up your clotheslines. Make sure that you're talking with your commissioner about when and where you can put up your clotheslines and when you can hang up things, because there's different times of the day where when you're going to go through inspection, when you want to make sure that that those things are taken care of. And talking about inspections, that's one of the great purposes of the commissioner program, is they're there to help you, especially with tent inspections. You know, roll up those sides of their tents, have them pull their sleeping bags out, hang them over the side, make sure they're airing their bags out so they don't get musty or dirty. That also helps with keeping things off the ground, keeping their clothes inside their bags. We always would take our, I don't remember who our commissioner was a long time ago, but this just got stuck in our head. Like when they're not in their Class A, it would be folded and sitting on top of their cot or on top of their bag, you know, the entire time that they're not using it. Don't bring hangers. Definitely don't want to have a hanger inside your tent. But that's what's going to put holes in there, and then you're going to get dinged for having small holes or some rips inside your tents. Leaders, make sure you bring tents for yourself. Depending on what campsite you have, you might not have enough of the campus tents for all of your scouts and for the leaders. So bring up a tent for yourself. Bring a good camp chair. Have a good place to take your Scoutmaster nap during the daytime. Yeah, I mean, any other thoughts or things from our group? I know I see a lot of people on here that I've seen at camp several times. If you have something, yeah, go ahead, Tom. I have a comment. I know you want to keep kids busy. I've never been given a printout of the day-by-day hour to plan ahead. Grant, do you want to expand on that a little bit? Because I mean, there is the schedules of everything in your leader's guide for what happens for different activities, but what exactly are you wondering about of a printout of?
Okay, so maybe it's just because I'm an assistant scoutmaster and I haven't been privy to some of the information, but I know when the kids are going to their merit badge meetings, and I know when the campfires are. I don't really know when the leather, you know, sometimes they have a one evening event that they go to. I've never been able to have that information. So
yeah, first and foremost, make sure you are at the Scoutmaster talks every morning. Every head of every department, the nature and handicraft and everything, will talk about activities that are happening that day. Because sometimes they might change a little bit from week to week, or they might have something extra happening that day, where they're like, hey, come on into handicraft area, and today we're going to make tie-dye. It's tie-dye day, and bring your shirt that you can make a tie-dye with. So there's different activities and stuff like that.
Okay.
You can go to
It would be nice to
headquarters.
plan ahead of time, and then I could be more flexible during the day. But it'd be nice to be able to get that information the week before, so that I can assign, okay, we're all going here, we're going here, and if there's a daily change, make those daily changes as necessary. But
yeah, I would say as far as your whole troop going together activities, those are going to be your after merit badges are done. There is the afternoon, what they call free time, but they can also go down to handicraft, and that's where they can, because you can't even sign up for those merit badges this year. You can go down to, do leather work or whatever it is down at the, the different areas. If you look at if you have whoever has access to the Black Book, have them share the leader's guide with you.
okay.
And all of that information will be there for those things. But I would say talk to your SPL and your Scoutmaster or your lead that's going to be there. And, things like planning out when you want to do your rainbow trails hike, planning on when you want to do some of the night hikes and doing, some of the eye courses. Those you can kind of plan ahead a little bit. But they're, depending on weather and things, like usually Wednesday night's the night that the astronomy merit badge people might bring out the telescope to look at some stuff. So a lot of that might change a little bit week to week.
I want to address Jessica's question in the chat. She's going week 1. Is there a theme we should know about? There's no general theme, but there are certain days at Geronimo. So I think Wednesday or Thursday is like OA night. So you should bring your OA. People in the Order of Arrow should bring like the OA sash or whatever. And I think it's usually Thursday. And so you wear your OA regalia around. Friday, and this changes this is up to the camp staff, but ever since I've been there, Friday has been Hawaiian Day. So the staff wears Hawaiian shirts. So I have a Hawaii, I wish I brought it out. I actually have an old Hawaiian shirt. I put my scout patches on. So it's got like the epaulette and my troop number and stuff like that. So I wear that around too. So our sister troop 3015, they're going out to Cherry Valley. And so the Scoutmaster got all the ASMs like Hawaiian shirts so they can coordinate as well. So those are the official camp ones, but there's no reason why you as a troop can't come up with your own, theme as well.
Yeah, great point. Yeah. Any other tips or tricks that anybody has come across as they're taking their scouts up and through camp, either Geronimo or another site?
Hey, Chris, Josh here. I'll jump
Hey,
in
Josh.
with one that I've learned over time. Most likely issue your scouts are going to face is dehydration up in the high desert there. Trick I found is I bring some dry drink mix, Gatorade, Propel, electrolyte drink mix, something like that. You drop that in a water bottle for them, and it's amazing how quick they'll put down 32 ounces of water after a week of tap water.
Great point. I get on Amazon Nun tabs, N-U-U-N. If they're just electrolyte tabs, I use it for myself all of the time. But when you see that scout dealing with a little dehydration or something like that, a little Gatorade or electrolyte packs or something like that is really good. Great point. Thanks for bringing that up. Anybody else have any thoughts or concerns?
Hey, Chris, this is Tom Sands. I was a commissioner up there for about 10 years, and I have a couple of thoughts I want to share that
Please.
that I would remind Scoutmasters of, and that is that, your scouts are there to have a good time and to progress with respect to their maturity and so forth. And one of the adult leaders' jobs is to keep an eye on how they're doing, and such things as we would have something called Thorns and Roses around the campfire ring we did it basically Monday through Thursday night. And that's where you go around the circle and am I still on?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, I'm dialing in from Prescott, so I don't know what kind of connection I have, but so the Thorns and Roses, that's where you go around the campfire ring or whatever you have, your campfire lantern, and and a scout can either talk about a thorn, which is something that was frustrating that happened to them today. They fell, somebody pushed them or whatever, and then the roses is something good that happened today, to them today. And then the adult leaders, we would really listen to those. And, you know, like if you could pick up things like if somebody wasn't having a good time, maybe there was some bullying going on, which is another thing to watch out for up there. And you got to look for it, because they don't bully around the leaders. They bully away from the leaders. So the thorns and roses are a good way to kind of see how things are going scout by scout every day. Another thing, on Wednesday night, if there's any bullying going on, by about Wednesday night, we would call Wednesday night fight night, because Wednesday night is like, if somebody's being bullied, they just about had enough by Wednesday night. And that's where they start pushing back and slugging. And we've had kids go to the hospital. We had one kid that had to be helicoptered down to Scottsdale. He got attacked with a rock about the size of a grapefruit up at the showers. But so Wednesday night, just really be aware of what the sense is and what's going on. You know, as leaders, we can really get complacent up there, because we're having a good time too. You're just sitting around, you're talking with your buddies and recounting the day. But boy, I tell you, at night, really keep your eyes open, wander around a little bit, see what's going on, especially Wednesday night. Once they get to Thursday, hey, you know, the next day's Friday and they're going home. So things tend to get a lot better. What else did I have here? Something that we did when I was a Scoutmaster up there, and that was every night we would have a PLC, which meant SPL, ASPL, patrol leaders, maybe the assistant patrol leaders, and then all the adults that are there. And we would gather around one of the picnic tables, just us. You know, the rest of the guys are sitting down at the campfire and they're carving or whatever they're doing. And we'd have a little PLC every night. And we talked about what went well, what did go well, what do we need to be aware of, what do we need to resolve. And we would then, the last thing, we would go over the plan for the next day, so that when the patrol leaders and SPLs went to bed, that they had an idea of what needs to go on first thing the next morning. It just helps get a jump start on that.
I'm glad you said that. And when you first started talking, I wrote that down. That's something I forgot about. Yeah, we do that as well. Every night we have a PLC, and we almost kind of like have a all Scoutmasters and patrol leader one-on-one time. You know, we just talk to that patrol leader and let him say, hey, you know, how's your patrol doing? How are your scouts doing? Are you seeing anybody having some issues? Is anybody sad? Is anybody fighting? Are you having trouble getting anybody to do anything? Like they're not getting up for you in the morning, or you know, they're not cleaning their tent. I remember one year we had an SPL that just could not get the troop to get everything cleaned up in time to get down for flags. And when we would review the next day, and you know, we talked to him. Okay, so what's your plan tomorrow to try to get that done? Well, tomorrow we're going to have to get up at 4 o'clock. Okay, guess you're getting them up at 4 o'clock. You know, we let them learn by trial and error. And you know, I will say that the scouts did better after that 4 a.m. wake up to make sure that they were a little bit more aggressive in getting their stuff done for the SPL the next time, because they didn't want to get up at 4 o'clock. I didn't want to get up at 4 o'clock. Another good point: bring coffee. Scoutmasters, we love coffee. You know, bring yourself, if you have a stove or a jet boil or whatever you want to bring up. Nothing like having a time in your commissioner. When your commissioner comes in to check you out, give him a cup of coffee. You know, give her a cup of coffee. Great idea. Session 5, I'll be up there as a commissioner. I'd love to have coffee with you, but I'll have my own coffee as well. Yeah, bring some coffee for yourselves and some good coffee cups. That was another good thing that we used to do, is we would give the Scoutmasters, all the ones that would come up and be up there for us for the whole week, and you know, usually taking their own vacation time to be up there. We would, as a troop, we would reward them with a troop coffee cup or a Geronimo coffee cup or something like that. Just kind of a little reminder of a thank you for the time that they put in. All great thoughts. Cool. Anybody else have any other thoughts or tips or tricks or problems that they've run into at camp that they want to know how to handle?
I've got a couple, but I want to open it up to the floor first.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, one thing, if you guys are going to Geronimo, the tie-dye is a really, really popular thing. So one thing to, you know, as part of being prepared is have your scouts bring like white t-shirts or something they want to tie-dye. I think that they sell shirts up there for like $5 a piece or whatever, or else you can go to Trading Post and buy something. But, you know, it's way better if you don't have to spend that money and just bring something that you want to tie-dye is one thing. The other thing is something that Tom kind of pointed out. I just want to take a quick poll. During camp, has anyone needed to call a parent for one reason or another? Yeah, old Geronimo shirts for $1. Yeah, the next 2013, whatever. Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just if I've had to take a scout to the health lodge, I usually just give the parents a buzz saying, hey, they got dehydrated because they didn't drink enough water the first day. But yeah, if I have to, I do give the parents just a quick call. If they don't hear from me, then everything's good.
That's what I told them to. Anyone else?
Yeah. One thing I would do is I would, you know, kind of keep pictures and stuff like that. And you can buy a
Wi-Fi.
A Wi-Fi pass. And if you're down by the trading post or sometimes up by the health lodge or even over in the dining hall, you can get enough data to actually send some pictures off. If you have like a band or something like that that you guys use, it's great to throw out pictures like that. Parents love to see their kids smiling and having fun, and you'll put a lot of the parents at ease, especially if this is their first time having their scout at summer camp. Yeah, I mean, it's the good thing is that, you know, we try to keep cell phones out of the scouts' hands, but up there's no Wi-Fi for them, so it's more of a camera. So if you have a historian, we'll let them use their phone to take pictures and stuff like that, but they won't have a use for it. But it's, yes, keep contact with your parents just by sending them updates also is a pretty good idea. But yeah, definitely if somebody's sick or has something like that, you want to keep in contact with the parent. As
an opposing viewpoint, personally, I don't do that because I'm training my parents to go hands off. No news is good news. Either way, right? You got to know your audience. That's perfectly fine. The point I was trying to make too is you got to make sure the parents aren't taking like a week-long trip to Hawaii, because we've had parents do that before too. Because they need to be in contact, not because of disciplinary issues or they have to go pick them up for health reasons, but in recent history, Geronimo has been evacuated due to forest fires, right? And so if something happens, we need to be able to get a hold of them. So it's okay if they go to Florida or whatever, they just need a contact that we can go call to say like, hey, plans have changed, we're going back home early or whatever. And that name should be on the medical form part A at the very bottom. Authorized adult to go take care of my kid. That definitely should be on there.
Great, perfect. I did paste into the chat a little bit back. There is I think it's Brian on Scouting, an article on helping to deal with scouts with anxiety, you know, things to look out for, things to help them out with. So if you see that in there in the chat, pull it up if you have any questions or thoughts about that. Take a look at that article. It's pretty good.
I've got 2 more administrative tips for everyone. This applies specifically to Geronimo, but I'm sure it applies to other BSA camps that you guys might be going to. Make sure for your merit badge participants, take a pulse to make sure to see where they're at, because we've had scouts that skip out on this or that, or maybe they've completed it or whatever. And then at the end, you're supposed to go check and make sure that everything syncs up, but you may not know until Court of Honor 4 months later, and they're like, hey, where's my merit badge? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So it may be good to just keep up with them. Hey, how are you doing on this merit badge? Are you completing it? Are you going to complete it? You know, whatever. And so that gives you a little foot up just in case anything happens. And the other thing too, at the end of camp, you know, we have to buy the little segments, polar bear plunge patches and stuff like that. So make sure you have funds to go do that, and keep track along the way. How many of my scouts did tenderfoot run? how many guys did the polar bear plunge? How many are medicine man this year, or whatever the equivalent is, right? Keep track of that so you have a tally and know who to award those to when you get back.
Great tip. Along with the merit badges, you don't want to, you don't want to follow your scouts around, for the whole week. I would say make sure that they know where to go, especially the new scouts, so they get to the right spot. When we do merit badge sign up, I try to make sure that I don't have a new scout heading off to horsemanship all by themselves. But items like that, so they're kind of paired up in different groups and stuff like that. We always try to use the buddy system for them around, even though they're in an enclosed camp, but make sure they're walking around with a buddy. But again, those are good things to do in your PLC night to make sure that you're talking with your patrol leaders. Hey, if so-and-so is going to, archery during this time or something like that. So you kind of stay on top of that. There is a night, usually at, Thursday night or Friday night, the wine and cheese night, where all the leaders will get together at Geronimo and they'll bring you up there and you can review where your scouts are at. So another good point, and I can't believe I forgot about this. It might be good if you have them to bring some walkie-talkies for your leaders to have, because it's good. They'll be doing a campfire. Your scouts will go up to camp, and you'll have, your SPL and yourself will be in the dining hall going over everybody's merit badges, and you'll see that Scout A has an incomplete in environmental science, and call it, walkie-talkie, call it to camp. Hey, talk to so-and-so. Did they finish there? No, he says he didn't finish. Or no, he says he did it. Okay, well, then you can have that conversation with the leader of that area of camp to make sure that you have everything figured out. Because hopefully by the time you leave camp, those sheets are completely figured out. You guys know what they got. Everybody at camp knows what they got, and they will actually upload all those into Blackpug, and they'll tabulate into your scout book if you use scout book for you as well too. And you can just do a download and it pulls it all right over.
So Tom has a question in chat about the cots. So that's new. That's new this year. You're able to rent cots at Geronimo instead of lugging your own or whatnot. I believe it's a $10 fee, but I think it is a good deal. And those things are solid, rock solid, because they're my OA ordeal. I had to disassemble them, and those things are rock solid, believe me. I don't know administratively. I don't know if anyone here knows if you have to reserve them ahead of time, but I think you can just go and to camp and just say, hey, I need 3.
In Blackpug, if you go into the leaders part where you have everyone, where you can pick merit badge or t-shirts, I think there was a spot for cots, but there might be also under each individual scout.
Yeah, Chris, it was under each individual scouts where I'm finding it.
So as he mentioned, if you are renting a cot, they are rock solid. So if you want to bring a pad to put on top of the cot, it's a good idea.
It's always a good idea. Just because it can be hot or cold or whatever. Yeah, for sure.
Geronimo can have some pretty still some sweaty nights. I like to bring a fitted sheet and put that over my cot. I'll put a little pad on it, put a little sheet over on top of that, so it kind of helps things that I can pull out and clean it and keep it tidy and makes it more comfy.
The other thing too is especially if you're going a little later in the season, make sure everyone has rain gear, because monsoon season comes quick. And up at Geronimo, you could have a thunderstorm really quick without warning. So it's always a good idea.
Good point. Good thing is usually up there, I don't know, I think I've been all there for about 12 years now. When you do have some, it actually, you like it when you get at least one day of rain up there. It's cool things down a little bit, keeps the dust down. But I don't think I've ever been up there where it's rained like several days in a row.
No, but those 10 minutes that comes down, quick dry is great, but the problem is you have to be wet to do the quick dry, rather not be wet. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Well, we're getting close to our time here. I don't want to keep you guys past 8 o'clock. Does anybody have any other thoughts or things they'd like to add in?
Yeah, Chris, I was going to share something that I learned, and it really helped out after the first couple of years I was up there as a Scoutmaster. And that is when we would go up there back in the day, it was Saturday, but the first day you go there, especially the younger kids, you got to kind of keep an eye on them, because the rules have not been defined, right? So they think they're at Disneyland and they're down at the creek and they're wandering down the creek through the poison ivy sometimes, but they just scatter. And then when it comes time to assembly or you want to do some things, it's like, where are these kids? And that's usually the first day that they're just so enthralled and they love camp so much, they just disappear. So one of the things that we put together was a list of rules, and we would sit down after everybody on Saturday, the first day there, after everybody got moved into their tents, we'd all gather around the fire ring and we'd go through the rules, maybe have the SPL go through them. And you might have 10, I think we had like 20 rules, and they were things like buddy system. You know, if you leave the campsite, you got to have somebody with you, unless you have an adult leader that says it's okay that you don't have to have that. How are you going to call an assembly? And that gets more important the larger the troop is. If you got 5 or 7 scouts, it's not a big deal. You can pull them together and have an assembly. You're all going to go off to some event, dinner or whatever. But if you get more than 15 or so, boy, it's a challenge because they can be anywhere in the camp or nearby. What we went to eventually, we went to a whistle system where if the SPL blew the whistle 3 times, that meant that you had, we used to say, you had 20 seconds to get down to the assembly area, that we had an announcement, an important something to announce. And I think it was the year when there was a lot of fire danger up there. So that's what we were telling the kids, that, hey, if there's a fire, we're going to have to assemble all you guys together and get out of here. So if you hear the whistle blow 3 times, you got 20 seconds. And so, you know, the SPL would blow the whistle 3 times, and then the scouts would start shouting out 20, 19, 18. And it got to be kind of a fun thing.
Great, awesome, thank you. Anybody have any other questions or things that I might be able to help answer for you if you have questions about pre-charter, that since you were missing that call, that they are recording that next door, but I might be able to answer something quickly before our time's up.
Awesome. I got one more tip for Geronimo for us adults driving up there. Make sure your tires or spare tires are in order.
Oh yeah.
You got your jack ready to go, your tire iron and all that. So I've been in Geronimo tons of times, even since I was a cub leader or whatnot. And just so happens, karma hit me, because you know Geronimo loves to eat tires. I got 2 flat tires going up to Geronimo last year. So just make sure, especially if you're towing a trailer, have a little locking lug ready to go, just in case.
Yeah, I had 2 flat tires one week up there as well. Not fun trying to get down to Big O and Payson and replace 2 tires.
That's right.
Another good point for driving up, if you're going to be going up there on Sunday, remember you don't have food until dinner. So it's not a bad idea to stop in Payson or Strawberry or somewhere and pull off and find an area where you guys can get all your scouts out, have your lunch. If you're coming up from the valley, you have about a 2.5-hour drive. Further south, maybe a little bit longer than that. Do it down in the parking lot or something like that. So you get to make sure that they're not starving by the time they get to dinner on Sunday night.
Hey, Chris.
Go for it.
Yeah, this is Tom. I was just going to reinforce your comment and Gil's as well about the flat tire situation. And I'm a civil engineer, and I've done some work up there, and I discovered why there are so many flat tires on those roads. It's the rocks, it's the gravel material that they put on top of those roads to keep down the dust and so forth, that it comes from a local pit up there in Payson, and it does have sharp edges to it, that when you go over it sometimes and it's loose, it'll kick it up and your back tire will go over it, and it's almost like a nail. So that's what it is. So you guys are right on about the spare tires. Have it ready to go. I believe that the camp ranger may have some equipment that you can maybe do a repair up there, maybe. But if not, you might have to send somebody to town with one of your tires to get fixed at the Big O.
Yep. Been there.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, unless anybody has anything else, I think we can give, looks like 3 minutes back to your night. If you don't know me, you see my name there under there, chris.boson at scouting.org. Happy to answer any other questions if they come up. If you can think of something that you didn't think of, or you have a leader that asked you a question that you couldn't think of, I'm going to be traveling up to I'll be up there for the whole week for session 5. Session 1 and 3, I believe I'm going up just a visit. So I hope to see everybody that's going up to Geronimo this year. Have a great summer camp, and have a great time. Thanks for being on the call tonight. Have a good night.